Okay, so I'm gonna quickly start going over the housekeeping rules, guys. While waiting for people to come in. I'm Neha, by the way. I manage the AI Enthusiast Circle, which is how we're hosting this event with Laura and Rahila, who are the CEO and CTO of Modality. And they're going to tell us more about that. But before we begin, I am going to just go over quickly some rules. Please keep yourselves on mute so that the speakers don't get interrupted. This call is being recorded, so video is optional. Just keep that in mind. If you have a question during the AMA round, because this is an AMA event, please raise your hand, and then we'll go by the order of who raised when they raise their hands. And as always, in all our calls, please use the emojis at the bottom of your screen when you want to react to what the speakers are saying, what the other people are saying. Thumbs up if you like something, if you disagree, thumbs down if you love something, and the heart. And that way the speakers know that, you guys are enjoying a particular point or disagreeing to a particular point. As I said, this call will be recorded, so you will get access to it on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the AI enthusiast circle on our WhatsApp community, I will be posting it there along with the AI summary and notes as well. And if there is any presentation or materials by the speakers, I will share them with all the people who registered after that. So that's it for the housekeeping. I'm going to begin now. So quick background, we're AI Enthusiast Circle, which is a community for women only to upskill in AI. You can be from any background. You don't have to be technical. It's just anyone who wants to learn more about it, because the kind of new AI that we're facing right now is going to be a huge part of our lives. That's why we want to do workshops like this, to kind of get more educated on what is happening in the industry, how people are using AI. And so it's really important to, kind of see what's out there and ask the questions, because this gives us the opportunity to ask the creators of a particular AI product what their journey is all about and how they've handled it. And what I love about Modality is also because their leadership team is all women. So I think that's like a extra bonus for all of us who are out there in the AI space. What is Product AMA? It's something we have started out of popular demand in our community, which is that it's twofold. It is so that AI products can take into account women and their opinions. And secondly, to also support women founders in the AI space, because let's face it, it is quite a bit of a boys' club. So it's nice to have a space where women can actually talk about it in a safe manner and ask those questions that could be embarrassing because they're so new. And I've seen women tend to hold themselves back. So we want to create this space so that they can do that. The structure is quick. It's 10 minutes of the intro of the product, and you have 45 minutes to just ask the creators any questions that you want. So I'm going to introduce you to the team of Modality now. We first have Laura. She has a lot of experience in the field of mental health services. So she's sort of been at the cusp of, public clinics and how they handle their mental health services, and which is why I think she's in this apt position to handle Modality. She has her degrees from Brown University, Virginia Commonwealth University, and I think being in the mental health space is absolutely great. She's published in multiple journals, which I have listed out here for you guys to see. And now she's working on this awesome, cool product. She's also done a lot of work for LGBTQ. I don't know how to say the rest of the letters and things. India does not have that much, happening in this, not as much as the US. But she's been very involved in this, and I think that makes it another really nice reason to have her here with us being a women community. And along with her, we have Rahila, who is the lead software engineer at Modality, and her background is full stack by the looks of it, React, Next, TypeScript, Node, and she's done a lot of work with AWS and setting everything up. So, I mean, it's like a one-man team by looking at the, the resume. So it's really, really cool to see women, leading a tech product, because it's so, so hard to find that, Rahila. Honestly, like, it's absolutely amazing that you're doing this, and you're mentoring engineering teams as well. I mean, that's a great space to be. I know so many women are constantly messaging me and asking me if I know anyone who's like tech mentors, or like technical mentors, because that's really, really hard to find. So I'm really excited to see what you guys have built together. So, sorry, not the AMA yet. So I'm gonna let you guys take over now. I think I've spoken enough. I've kept to the time. And if you need anything, just let me know. But otherwise, I'm just gonna run in the background logistics, and so you don't have to worry about anything. People do tend to message, but if you want, I will, read out the messages or anything. If you have any preference about people interrupting you, it's totally up to you. But we do have an AMA, so Laura, don't worry about how you want. Just go for your 10-minute, demo, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's really a true pleasure to be here, and the first time that Raheel and I have presented to a group of all women, and super excited for what the conversation will hold, and just want to invite people to interrupt, message. Like if I don't see the message, Neha, it would be great if you just like chime in if it would make sense for me to address it in the moment. And also any and all questions are welcome, whether it's about mental health, healthcare, tech, AI. So happy to be here. So glad we have the introductions out of the way. I'm gonna take over presenting and kind of dive right into the demo, because from there, then like larger conversations about the industry and about our thinking and strategy behind the product become a little bit more clear. And so this is an area also where I anticipate there will be a lot of questions, because the mental health industry, the behavioral health industry in the US and I think globally is quite complex, and our product is designed to build to fit into workflows in a very specific way. So often when people think about mental health tech, like especially today with all of the news about like AI therapists, we jump to thinking about patient-facing technology and products. Our tool is actually hyper-focused on workforce development, so no part of it is at this stage patient-facing. And so what our product is designed to do is to fit in with the workflows of supervisors, clinical supervisors, and their trainees who are frontline workers to help build skills for frontline workers, whether it's licensed clinicians or the many kinds of roles that are non-licensed, like peer support specialists, community health workers, care navigators. There's really valuable roles in behavioral health where people are leveraging lived experience. And the hurdles in the field are that often people come into the field passionate about leveraging their lived experience to provide care, but meet a lot of like an absence of training and support once they're actually in the field, having very challenging patient interactions or navigating care in different ways. So this tool is designed to give people practice having different conversations with AI, getting on-demand feedback to then get more practice, get feedback, and also bring these interactions with AI to their supervisor to make best use of their training time or their supervision time. So what you're looking at here is from the perspective of a trainee. So I'm a trainee. I've gotten some initial didactic learning, like I've watched videos or I've attended in-person training about a skill set that's called motivational interviewing. That's an evidence-based framework designed to basically interact with people who are using drugs in a way that treats them with dignity and respect while promoting change behavior. That's like my own language for what motivational interviewing is. So this tool is to build practice in motivational interviewing skills, which is a really, really important skill set for the whole world of substance use, addiction, recovery, detox. So that's sort of the backdrop of the context that this product is being used in. That said, our product is extremely customizable. So in this case, I'll be practicing talking to Valeria or Calvin in these different scenarios. The personas, their backgrounds are all customizable. The scenarios are customizable. And the evidence-based framework that I get feedback on is also customizable, which I'll revisit that as we go. So in this case, I'll practice talking to Valeria. I choose which scenario. I'll just say the intake. And then when I click Start Challenge, you'll see this is also designed to be mobile first, because a lot of people just don't have that much time for training. So it's designed to be able to happen on the go or any time of day, which is a real advantage over in-person training or in-person supervision. So the context here is that I'm an intake provider at a community behavioral health clinic, answering phones, talking with people I've never met, and today someone named Valeria is calling. And then next we get the instructions for my challenge. So we call these conversations challenges because it's like challenging and developing new skills. So my tasks are to engage successfully with Valeria around the topic of risky behavior, learn about what's happened, explore any changes Valeria might be interested in making, and schedule the first appointment. So then once I hit call, you'll hear me have, I'll keep the conversation pretty short, but you'll hear me have a conversation with Valeria. And it's unscripted, and she's AI, obviously. Hello.
Hi, yeah, hello. I'm Valeria. Uh I I'm calling because, well, I think I might need some help, maybe.
Well, it's great that you took a first step to call. What kind of help do you have in mind?
Well, it's kind of complicated. I I guess I'm worried about how much I drink sometimes. My friend, she told me I should like talk to someone about it, but I'm not sure, you know?
What are your concerns?
Well, I'm worried about my little girl. I'm I'm scared that maybe my drinking is, affecting her.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's really important for you to be a good mother. We can explore all of your options in a first appointment if you'd be open to scheduling that.
Yeah. You're right. It's really important to me. I I want to be a good mom. I can't let this uh, get in the way of that. So maybe I could, you know, try that first appointment, get more
Great.
information.
I'll forward you to the scheduling office.
All
Um, you'll hear I just interrupted her. So you can, unlike with humans, you can pause and restart the conversation as you want. And then when you hang up, I'll hang up now. And I did a quick conversation. This could go much longer. Um, Now, when I hang up, it's analyzing the conversation and creating the AI feedback on motivational interviewing. Sorry, there's a lot of noise. I'm just going to shut my window. So in this conversation, the AI feedback is on, just to dive a little bit deeper into the level of customization around the feedback. So motivational interviewing is really important in the context of this kind of scenario, but say we were, I'll give an example of a customer who they train guides to work with, they sell to employers, and their life guides kind of help people through transition, but they also want them to be prepared for crisis response if necessary. So we're building out modules to train people to respond to like suicidal ideation or different kind of crisis responses. So what you're looking at now is the feedback screen, and the UI of this is very much in evolution, in response to what our customers want. So I'll kind of go right through this, and then I need to keep an eye on the time too, so we can get right to your question. So what we have here at the top is a summary of two skills that I used well, and the feedback focus is sort of like the most important thing that I could have done better. And so there's 4 strength moments, which is when I use motivational interviewing skills well. All of these titles here are names of motivational interviewing skills, and then moments where I could have used them better. And when you open it, it describes the quote that I said. I said, I'll forward you to the scheduling office. It describes how I could have used the skill better or how I didn't use the skill well. This particular skill is called avoiding the fixing reflex, like kind of intuitive if you think about like your own life. Like I don't like being just told what to do. So then there's a suggestion of how I could have used the skill better, and then a quote of what I could have said to be more effective and integrate that skill. And so there's a lot of, there's a big roadmap ahead of how we're going to create like audio, video, like flesh this out to have like learning modules connected to it. But I'm happy to give you this snapshot of where the product is right now. And we're launching with this with some pilots over the next couple of months. So maybe I'll pause there and open it to questions. And I also hope to give Rahila an opportunity to answer questions as well, because she's truly the master builder behind all of this, and it's been really amazing.
Rahila, before we go into the AMA, would you like to say anything?
No, we can go right straight into the AMA, I guess.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, Laura. That looks really cool, and I mean, it's so real. It's just absolutely amazing. It sounds like you're talking to a real person. And I remember when I did this demo, I was so nervous, like my heart was racing, and I was like, "Don't say anything wrong. I don't want her to do anything. Like, I don't want her to kill herself or something." Because if you go on towards the end, she gets really desperate, and and then she starts backing out, and I'm just like, "No, no, no, no!" Like, so it's really real. So I have to say, like for you guys to have built this, it's absolutely amazing. So we have one question from Guncha. She's put it up in the chat. I'm going to read it out. Unless Guncha, you want to unmute yourself. I'm not sure if you can. I can't.
Yeah, I might be able to.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Okay, awesome. Go for it.
Thank you so much for the demo. I think it's very interesting because in India we are seeing two trends. One is that we have a lot of, as you said, frontline workers, or maybe they're not on the front line, but they have a fair bit of interaction within the team, and they are not really very skilled on soft skills because they may not have corporate exposure. So what we are seeing is how do we extend these scenarios beyond the kind of situations like self-help that you've shared. So any kind of practice of some targeted scenarios. Any thoughts on that?
So your question is like, could this be changed to be adapted and used in different kinds of contexts?
In different industries, a bit of extension from personal to semi-personal professional challenges.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe Rahila, do you want to take a stab at answering that?
Yeah, sure. I could answer part of that. So yeah, so like it is very flexible, like the application, and we have seen like a lot of like use cases, and new ones just keep on like popping up. Even right now, you just say this one, and yes, it can. We don't really have that right now, but it can be implemented. Yes.
Okay. So maybe I can ask a follow-up, Neha, if that's all right. So how are you, what is your business model, so to speak? So how are you engaging to use this across?
Laura, you
Sure.
want to take that?
Yeah. So we're starting really focused on embedding this in the workflows of organizations that have like pain points around training their workforces. So it comes into the training budget and helps reduce costs and also improve outcomes. So the sort of value propositions for organizations are to have more insight into the skill levels in their workforce, to improve the skill levels, and ultimately the goal for us and them is to improve patient outcomes. Not everybody calls them patient, client, like community outcomes. And so, yeah, so what we're starting, like the pilots that we're doing right now are starting with like small groups within large organizations and then scaling within those organizations and then scaling to similar organizations. And behavioral health and substance use is a strong place to start because leveraging lived experience is really effective, but it's hard to maintain like a high level of training to really help people leverage their lived experience effectively. There's a lot more to say about the business model.
So what's
hopefully.
the organization size typically that you're targeting right now?
Let's see, this one pilot I have in mind, it's pretty variable. Like there's a digital health startup that wants to scale it to training like 50 to 100 guides. And then this other, it's like a network of treatment centers, and there's probably 1,000, like 1 or 2,000. But like I said, we're starting small and taking an approach of like really co-designing it with the users, because the reason why this hasn't happened yet, my opinion, is that it's a very complex field, and like you have to really work with the customers and the users, because everybody's pretty under-resourced, so they're not going to use tools unless they like really fit with their workforce. I mean, in their workflow.
Very true. Thank you. Thanks, Neha.
Guncha, do you want to ask about the question you put up in the chat, which is about the
Yeah,
behavioral?
so I think it's similar as Rahila said, that there are use cases popping up. So I just put it in the chat for you guys later. But similar scenario of where frontline or caregiver, as I call it, space is necessary, because individuals or even professional caregivers are struggling to keep up with the elderly population in India. Again, I'm talking about. So there's a lot of disconnect, because even if you want to support them emotionally, you don't relate to the mindsets, to the scenarios, to their baggage, which you need to help with emotionally, like what the example that you gave around drinking and concern for children. So I think some of those situations maybe we can keep sharing to you as you build out.
Yeah, I think with like elderly people, it's not just also the mental health, it's also a bit of a time shift, right? Because they're so displaced in time. Like, the world has changed so drastically around them. How do you relate?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. Anyway, thank you,
Yeah.
Guncha. Rianne, would you like to unmute and go for it?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, congratulations on the product. Very, very impressive and interesting product. My question really, because we're specifically a group for women, was wondering how much your evaluations take account of gender differences, if they do at all, or if it's purely assessing the responses on a properly sort of gender neutral basis. Just sort of thinking about how potentially different people might respond in a different way.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. And the broader umbrella I put that under is like cultural competency, even though gender isn't necessarily culture, but there's a lot of, cultural differences around something that might seem kind in one culture might seem really inappropriate in another culture too, and same with gender. So what I would say the way that we're accounting for that is tailoring the personas. It would be helpful if you're thinking of like a specific example where you can imagine something going wrong, and I would describe how we'd account for that. I would say the main way that we're accounting for that is like just having Valeria, and she's prompted to present with certain concerns that are specific to her cultural background. Like when I was before founding Modality, I was giving care to a lot of Latina moms who had they were really motivated to take care of themselves for the sake of their children, and wasn't really naming it as their own. It was like that was the way to help them stay engaged in care. So her background and the personas that people are practicing talking to like represent different culture, like gender, or any other kind of specific backgrounds. And then someone who's not as experienced can get practice talking to them. And similarly, like with gender, or like trans or like queer identity, it's like getting practice talking to someone with a specific background and getting feedback on how you did. But I can speak to like more specific concerns if you have them.
Yeah, not so much a concern, more just more just an example, because I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
Say, for example, with Valeria, if maybe the respondent who is speaking to Valeria is maybe herself a mother, her response might be more focused potentially around, you know, mirroring Valeria's kind of concerns. Perhaps the respondent would even say, I'm a mum myself, or something like that, whereas someone of another gender might not be able to, might not feel as attuned, I guess. And I wondered if there was any kind of allowance made for that in the responses.
Yeah, what you're speaking to is like the practice or the skill of self-disclosure in like a therapeutic interaction. So it would be, we would then give feedback on like strengths and stretches in the speaker's decision to disclose personal information about themselves. So that could definitely be a targeted part of the product. Right now we're giving feedback on 14 specific motivational interviewing skills. So yeah, for sure, that's a possibility.
Cool, that's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rianne. I'm just going to come in here since you started talking about cultural differences. It would be nice to know how you're handling it in the training models. Like, how are you gathering all the data for the AI to be able to take in all the cultural differences, maybe from a technical perspective as well?
Yeah. Well, Rahila, chime in if you want to speak to the technical side. Part of what I'm taking into account in like the product development for this is actually taking a approach that has very little to do with the technical side of the models, but bringing in and building what we're calling a lived experience advisory committee, so that when, for example, we're building Valeria or people with specific cultural backgrounds, especially those that aren't shared with me, we have humans with lived experience who are experts in translating that into product experience, weighing into the design of the product. And that then gets converted into how we're adjusting the prompts and a more technical side of things. Do you want to speak to that? Do you have anything you would like to share?
Yeah, like you said, like most of it is it's not technical. Just the technical part is the prompting to make sure that it matches what, for example, we like the researchers gave us, right? So we just put it exactly in the prompt, and the agent will be just like that.
Okay, so basically you're taking the research of the cultural differences into the prompt. You're incorporating that in for the mock simulated calls to happen.
Yeah, and I can give an example. So part of it, where it starts is having a conversation with the organization about the cultural backgrounds of the people that they serve, and then we make a draft and we really edit and tweak it in response to their feedback about whether and how it actually feels similar to the patients that they're serving.
Okay. So you actually do it for each client that you have. For each client, an organization that comes to you, you will tweak it based on that typical, scale of who they get.
Yeah. So right now it'll remain very, very customized. And from the product side, what's in our roadmap is streamlining that customization. So right now, like we're taking the approach in terms of the product build approach, like doing things very, very manually in terms of customizing it, and then building in streamlining that as we find ways to do that. And that's something that Rahila and another advisor of ours think a lot about, like how do we retain this very personal, customized relationship to serving the customers while streamlining as much as we can, like iteratively in the back end.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense because when you've just started up, you don't want to try and cover every base. You want to try and see what works, what doesn't. So it makes sense to, start with your targeted clients and then grow from there. I guess you could possibly keep these profiles. And when you go to another client, you could be like, oh, I already have these profiles of these cultural differences, biases, whatever the list is. and then you just keep growing your database of, I guess, profile, like simulation profiles.
Totally. Yeah. I think about Canva a lot, where there's a lot of templates, like you can create your own and then
Yeah.
there's templates you can use. So that's the vision I
Yeah.
have for that.
Awesome. So I have a question from Vaishnavi in the chat. I'm going to read it out. She is in the pharma industry, and one key focus in her organization is about the caregiver well-being, which is HIV, cancer, COPD, etc. Do you also work in that area, as in any verticals that is for specialized areas, or is it just generalized at the moment?
Sure. Yeah. The caregiver well-being or like provider well-being is a huge concern of ours. Burnout is huge, turnover is huge, and it's not good for the patients, and it's also expensive for the organizations to have turnover and to go through hiring processes. So what we discussed and in the demo that I gave, also, yeah, no problem that you're late. It's specialized, and one of our first applications is in the behavioral health context, and specifically rehab and detox from substance abuse. So that is like one vertical where it's particularly well suited, because motivational interviewing is a skill set that's really effective but very challenging to train and monitor skill building in. So our thesis and one of our hypotheses is that helping the providers and the trainees get better training and more specialized, personalized support about skill building helps with well-being. Obviously, there's a lot of different factors that go into caregiver and provider well-being, but that's the angle that we're like the slice that we're focused on.
Vaishnavi, do you have any follow-up from this, or should we go ahead with the next question?
Yeah, we can go ahead. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. DL, would you like to unmute, or should I just read out your question?
Yeah, hi, I'm here. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, yes, we can.
Really impressive stuff. I looked up the demo prior to the session, and I also looked up the motivational interviewing concept because it was something that was new to me. So I'm really impressed and kind of inspired by how you have conceptualized the product and built a tool that can be so useful to the industry. And we've been talking about how people are misusing AI as a therapist today. So I think this is the exact way that we should be using AI. So
Thank you.
I really love that about it. Curious to know what were the tech challenges that you encountered while you were building the product. I'm sure there have been many, but I'm just trying to learn how things are working in this space. So I'm just looking to get any insights that you can share.
Sure. Rahila, this is a perfect one for you to speak to.
Yeah, I would say trying to, I mean, the AI is evolving. It's always evolving, and we are evolving with it. But yes, we hit like one of our biggest challenges was trying to remember when we were doing the conversation, right? And we were having like some issues with the recording of the conversations, because like we have this feature whereby you play back the audios and stuff like that. So we had a little bit. Yeah,
I'll show it while you're talking. I'll bring my screen back up so they can see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You can keep going.
Yeah, so we had some challenges there, but we were able to figure it out. And and the technology is evolving and like really fast, which is very good for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what you see here, I didn't show this in the demos. You can see that, so you can like listen back to the exact moment of the conversation that you're getting feedback about. Yeah, I remember that too, Rahila. It's interesting. It doesn't really have to do with AI, but there was a lot of work that goes behind like listening back to detailed parts of the audio transcript.
Yeah.
Was it hard to get her to sound realistic, for the AI simulation to sound realistic?
Oh, that wasn't as because like like we already have the model that we are using, and it wasn't as hard because like once you do the research and like exactly the persona that you want, like that is the most difficult part, I would say. And thanks to Laura, she has like access to all of these real life people that we were able to like craft a perfect prompt, and we're able to like use that and edit that, and we're still improving that. But yes, and it's still improving, by the way. Like in the future we are hoping it's gonna sound like more realistic is so yeah.
It's already quite realistic. So um, that's pretty cool. DL, do you have any follow up?
No, I think I had a few other questions which got answered in the process of other people asking their questions. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much for your question. I've got another question in. Sorry, I have another question in the chat. Would you like to unmute and ask, or should I just read it out?
Yes, sure. I'll go ahead. So the question I had, Laura, is more about what is the model you're approaching? What is your ideal customer profile, and what are the top industries or business categories that you're targeting?
Sure. And then there's a follow-up question about B2B to C or just B2C.
Yes.
Oh,
And
B2C. Yeah.
that's again, I'm trying to understand the use cases and who will be the ideal personas for the use cases that you're thinking of.
Sure. Yeah, I'll try to answer this as detailed as possible. So right now, I would say a couple of the pilots are the ICP, so ideal customer profile. They're organizations that are large and are providing care and leverage a large non-licensed workforce and have high standards of care. So right now, especially as we're building and designing the product, specifically my ideal customers are care provider organizations, behavioral health agencies that are really passionate about providing high quality training to their workers and experiencing a lot of barriers to that. And so they're actively looking for tools like ours or just ways in general to increase the skill level in their workforce, which is a pretty common, it's a pervasive pain point in the industry because, and I'd be curious what it's like in India. In the US, there's a really pervasive workforce shortage in mental and behavioral health. So I would say that's definitely the biggest industry category, or it's like the overall category is behavioral health. And then within that, there's like substance use, there's serious mental illness, there's aging adult care for sure. So within behavioral health, there's sectors where non-licensed professionals can be really effective, and that's where we want to come in and really help with the training. And in terms of it being B2B to C or B2C, I think I would want to know specifically just a specific aspect of that question because we don't have plans right now for it to be patient facing. So like someone who's seeking care talking to the AI, but there are situations where like lay people like me and you can benefit from practicing talking to someone and building skills. And I see a huge opportunity for that in the future for it to be like direct to consumer, like to practice skills. And there are organizations and some companies like rolling that out. And I see it in my like targeted Instagram ads, like it's starting to happen. The good thing that one of the reasons why we're staying with B2B model right now is that there's compliance needs that keep organizations as sticky customers as well. So kind of from like a pragmatic standpoint for building the business sustainably, serving customers that also need for compliance is strategic for us.
I get it. Thanks, Laura. I think from a business standpoint and from working out the monetization, etc., I'm sure B2B will work better. but I was also looking at use cases where I, as an individual, for example, is not able to discuss as much with my healthcare provider, for instance, and um, there will I be able to look up to models like these uh, for helping me outcome, come out of those situations, for example, and just
Mm,
have that free discussion, for instance, right?
right. So
That's where I
that
was
would be a
coming from.
great, yeah. So if I understand correctly, it would be like you speaking to the AI as a sort of provider in between sessions
Yeah.
for like support. Yeah. There's interesting use cases for that. It's a pretty different implementation path because just at a base level, the risk is much, much higher when it's patient facing because there's just it's like a whole world of complication in terms of like protecting private health information, and the vulnerability of the
Ah, yes.
user is a lot higher when it's patients versus providers. Not that providers don't have their own like privacy needs and sensitivities as well. Um, and also the uptake, like there's a lot of news about it happening now, but in reality, the uptake of it and the willingness to pay for patient-facing tools is lagging way behind like the public discourse about it. So from a business standpoint, like
Mhm.
customers are more eager to start using this kind of tool first.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren.
So yeah, thank you for your question.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. An interesting follow up to that actually would be that when I was sharing this event around, a lot of people asked me that essentially they were parents or mothers and their children have, some kind of condition, disorder, whatever, something that they're facing, a challenge that they're facing. And they were asking if, as a parent, they could do these training calls to better handle their children. So I understand you have a compliance problem because if you work with an organization, there's a lot of accountability, whereas with individuals, it's a little more, wild. Um, but it'd be really interesting because I got that question a lot from mothers.
That's really good to know, and we've talked about that use case because that use case is a little bit in between it being like a provider or a patient because it's like it's still a patient in a way because it's a struggling parent, but they're not as vulnerable as like a child interfacing with AI. So, and I actually have talked to a therapist who does a lot of training, like parent support in her work about testing this tool with some of her parents to like practice having those
Oh
challenging
wow!
interactions with kids. Yeah, yeah.
So
So
it is
it's
kind of happening.
definitely high on my. Yeah, I would definitely like to do that. Yeah.
Cool. Well, whenever you're ready,
Parenting.
we have a whole community of women to help you out.
Well, great.
Yeah. I've got a couple more questions, and we do have 15 minutes left, so I'm going to go over that and not ask my own questions too much. AI and the insights it can provide are incredibly valuable, especially in a space like this. But the kind of information people share here is highly regulated, and those rules can change not just from country to country, but even from state to state. Ironically, it's often the most impactful products and services, the ones making a real difference, that feel the effects first. How are you planning or perhaps anticipating ahead to navigate and adapt to these shifts as you grow?
Yeah, really good question. There's a couple different ways that I'm taking into account. One is being in close touch with people who are really watching AI policy evolution. Like I have a friend who's in a very different field whose role is like AI policy director. So I ask her a lot, just like, and I follow her newsletter. I can share it to the chat. Actually, her name is Alisar Mustafa. She writes the AI. It's called the AI policy newsletter. So when I was worried about like just understanding the level of like risk of our product in the general scheme of like how an AI policy person thinks about risk, like I talked to people like her, and then we're also in close conversation with the Office of Mental Health in the state of New York, so a specific state in the US. And so I'm learning a lot from them as I get updates about how the governor and the state at a state level is navigating AI and policy and regulation, and I'm actually going to meet with them in person at the end of August. So there's no specific answers, but it's just a very dynamic, changing field. So my approach has been just staying in close communication with people who are kind of like either at the front lines of being responsible for state regulation or just watching policy. And in terms of protecting against it inhibiting innovation, our product not holding any private health information or protected health information protects us from being as impacted by like regulation that could slow down uptake.
Okay, wow, thank you. Vaishnavi, do you have any follow-ups from there, or should I continue the next question? Okay, I don't think she has any follow-ups. Shailaja, would you like to unmute and go for your question, or should I go ahead and read it out?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Just
Thank you, Neha.
great.
To speak to
Thank
it.
you.
First of all, thank you so much for organizing this. And Laura Rahila, huge admiration for everything that you guys do. Thank you so much. I missed the first part of this meeting. So maybe this is a repeat question. I don't know. If you have any social media presence, if you could share that in the chat, I would love to keep in yeah, track you guys. And really, my incentive here is that I'm a quasi volunteer in my defense for this nonprofit organization that is based out of India. And what they do is they specifically target just the rural women. Like these are like artisans, and some are like not really graduated, so they give them vocational trainings in specific things. And so it's really totally a different category of from what there are women also who come, they're battered and all sorts of all walks of life, right? The point is that they have a very small, like we have a very small like trainers, a group of trainers, and I'm tasked to sort of help them with whatever I know about the AI, and how AI can be applied to these women. So anyway, so that's really the premise there. So I was thinking, is there a way that I could maybe play with your product and see if and how it's applicable? I mean, are you open to expanding your clientele to something in this area, to like um, women who've been victimized by domestic violence or whatever, and they're looking to be more independent, right? So not really a behavioral thing, but really a very close and
Oh, it's
yeah,
definitely behavioral. Yeah, thank you for your question. Sorry to interrupt, but
yeah,
I'm just
that's it. I'm sort of rambling here, but
enthusiastically, yes.
okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I was really excited that this community is mainly based in India and internationally, because um, we want to grow to have an international focus, and we're starting by co-designing the product and integrating into specific workflows in the US. But also with
Laura, I
the
don't know about
understanding
others, but your
that
voice is
there's,
sort of like
if we can make
fading out.
this product like flexible and customizable to, oh, can you hear me?
You were breaking up when you started
Oh,
talking.
okay. Sorry. I'll just say quickly, I'd love to have a follow-up conversation, and we definitely envision this expanding into all different kinds of applications globally. Basically, any community in the world that could benefit from building skills around, and there's so many different evidence-based frameworks, but there's so much domestic violence around the world, and people who have experienced that need specific kinds of support and to be interacted with support and dignity and compassion, and those are skills to be built. So an amazing outcome of this would be if there's a pilot site that might make sense
Laura, you got
to
completely cut off,
do
dear.
internationally, the foundation. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Laura, if you want, I can do intros after this. If you guys can ping me on WhatsApp or whatever you guys have of mine, just ping me and I'll do the intros for you guys. And Shailaja, that sounds absolutely amazing, by the way, what you're doing. And I think it would be really cool if you guys
Will
could
do.
sort of work some synergy here. And I think that's what Laura was saying from whatever I got, that she was really excited about this event because it gives her access to the Indian communities
Yeah.
and understand what works over here. So I think I got that right, Laura, right? So
Just wanted to
Yeah.
show my face here. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much, guys. You guys are awesome.
nice to
Thank
see
you.
you, Shaja.
Thank you.
And Shaja, definitely send us your social media handles
Will
as
do.
well. If you're in the AI community, we would love to see what you're doing and in whatever way AI can support you guys. That would be absolutely awesome. Laura, I'm going to send it back over to you. Hopefully, your internet's stabilized now.
Yeah. Can you hear me okay? I feel like it
We
may
hear
not
you
be.
now. We hear you now.
Oh, you do? Okay. So just to what I said in the chat, I would love to talk to anyone about your ideas for different applications of this. Our goal is really to make it internationally relevant, culturally contextual, and appropriate for all different kinds of applications internationally. The mission of the organization and of the company is to really empower community members with lived experience around the world to have skills to support their own communities and our own communities.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Aja. That's a really interesting question. I'm gonna give now. There's 5 minutes left, Laura and Rahila. So, is there anything you wanna ask the women on the chat right now?
These questions have been really valuable, and just to hear what questions are top of mind and different applications. If there's use cases that you are thinking of that you haven't shared, I'd love to hear that. Partnership opportunities, we're really open to a lot of possibilities. Rahila, do you have any questions for the group?
No, but thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you. No, definitely we'll do our thank yous. So Vaishnavi has also said do drop in LinkedIn anything. She's happy to help you with ideas. Vaishnavi is actually our AI cybersecurity expert. So you should definitely talk to her when you guys want to secure your app. And so she's messaged in the group saying that she is open to helping you out. And Shalja has given her contact number on WhatsApp for you guys, just to help out here, to sort of, for when people message me, if they share any ideas, I'll definitely pass it on to you. Just could you give me a quick outlook on what your future path is? What are you guys planning? Are you planning on? I know you mentioned something about incorporating video, voice, and stuff like that, but is there anything? Do you have a specific timeline or a path that you guys are aiming for?
It's different for the different features. So for the next couple of months, we're very focused on building out the sort of analytics and reporting for the supervisor views. So the organizations and the trainees can get like at a glance views, incorporate video and other kinds of things. And then there's streamlining the customization to make the personas and the feedback and the scenarios really applicable to all different kinds of applications, like some of the ones we've discussed here is in the near-term product roadmap. So that's one of the reasons why I'd be very excited to talk to anyone about potential applications.
Yeah, definitely. So guys, Laura and Rahila are in the AI community, in the AIEC channel. So you can actually put in your feedback questions or ideas if you want, if you have any after you've sort of absorbed this talk with them, and put it up in the group. Thank you so much for joining in on a Monday evening for those of you in India. And for the others in the other parts of the world, I don't know where everyone in this group is from. And Laura and Rahila, of course, for taking the time and sharing this product that you've been working on, and it sounds absolutely amazing. It's so nice to see in action, and I really hope you guys get out there and kind of get different pilots, and hopefully one day in India as well. It'd be really nice to have something happening here and some synergy happening here. You already have a whole network of women to help you out whenever you're ready. So thank you once again for taking out the time, and thank you for everyone who has attended. I will be sharing the recording later.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation, conversation, questions. I really look forward to staying in touch, and I'll share the LinkedIn of Modality in the AI like WhatsApp thread so everyone can see it. It's been wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank
Good
you
night,
all.
good morning, good
Bye.
afternoon, wherever you are. Bye.
Bye.